Anyway, we are back in the studio, and our next topic for today is the power of good parenting.
That's right.
We have with her our regular guest, Professor Dr. Muhaya Muhammad. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Doreen. Good morning,
Prof, we're doing something completely different today. We
yes?
always talk about, individual motivational topics, but today it's for parents, so it's a plural motivation.
Plural, yes.
So, where do we get started?
Okay, before I start, I want to say this quotation. What we live within our children is more important than what we live to our children or for our children.
Okay.
When you talk within, it's all their thinking pattern, all their habits, or their emotional intelligence. Whereas what we live to them is material things.
Right.
And most of the time, children who are well brought up, they do very well in life. And the highest happiness for any parents or any human in the whole world is having good children. There are a few quotations that people say, happiness for 5 minutes is smoking. You feel happy for 5 minutes, after you suffer. 1 month, you buy a new car. You buy a new car, after 1 month you have to pay, then your happiness gone. But if you raise good children, happiness a lifetime. Because if you raise good children, they marry good people, you have good grandchildren, you have good besan, or everything becomes good because you start with something good.
But isn't this a very subjective thing? Because, who's a good parent, who's a bad parent, who's a good child, who's a bad child, can be different to different people.
That's right, that's right.
How do we make that decision?
As I say, life is all about perception. And we are all a summation of the choices that we make. What we are today is because of the choices we have made before. So before we become parents, we have to choose our partner first. And our partner will become ours only. We tend to attract people who are like us. So if you are a good person, that's why before this we talk about individual, If we make ourselves to become a good person, then we attract good husband or wife. Then, because two good people, we create a good environment. Then we have good children. When we say good and nice, it's different. When nice, usually it's quite superficial, just smiling on the, but good is from the soul. So we are talking raising children with a good soul, who practice universal spiritual values. And I think the difference between good and bad is quite clear actually, because the difference between moral and religion is different. Moral means something that's accepted by the norm of that society. But religion is certain ritual and rules. And we have to combine these both. So I see your point, Doreen, that some people say I'm bad parents or good parents. What we want to say is that we want to play the best role that we can in whatever situation we are. And let's say we are now, we have certain deficiency. We cannot blame for our parents and say, why they didn't raise us in that manner. No. We don't live in the past. We learn from the past. We live in the now. We plan for the future. So if we see something that we have not get when we were small by our parents, we shouldn't blame them. We learn from that and make sure that we give better than what we had before. So, but sometimes we see, look at the way generation go. People who live maybe 50 years ago were much better because there isn't so much distractions. Now, I think if you look at our society, I mentioned ago, we are going to the ice aging, hard colding society. We don't want that to happen because materialism, consumerism is coming in. That's why we notice in previous talk we talk about compassion, kindness, because these are the insight or soul, people who are full of soul and spirituality to behave. So there's a balance that we have to do. And I've mentioned before that what shape a child, see when a child is born, you imagine you conceive them for 9 months. While you were pregnant, all your behavior will influence the hormones and affects the child. Then when you are born, the child will absorb. The first 2 years is absorption of all the things that they see, they hear, they listen. And from 0 to 7 is when they don't have much of like in Malay they call it akal, right and wrong, but the conditioning starts then. So what the child see, hear, experience, repeatedly become their belief. And that belief will determine them to behave in a certain manner. So this, I said, the power of good parenting is that if we, let's say a couple gets married, the aim of marriage is to produce good children who is going to have a heavenly life now and hereafter. So if every individual unit is trying to really make good family, can you imagine the whole nation? We don't actually have to have one leader who says, please do this. No. Each person is their own leader in their own house. And if each house is good, the whole community will be good.
From the moment a child is born, he's helpless, and the parents tend to mollycoddle him and care for him or her, give them everything that they didn't have when they were growing up. They try their best to give their kids. But when does the mollycoddling stop and the discipline start?
Stop or start?
When does the discipline start? When do we start to...
Yeah. We should start, yeah.
When should we start?
You see, 0 to 7 is when the child starts to develop mentally and physically, all rapid growth, very rapid growth. But we cannot actually start hitting them or scolding or punishing them, because when they are 0 to 7, they are just, they don't have the decision to be right and wrong. It's not very clear cut.
Right.
But from 7 to 14 is the time when we have to discipline them. So it is really good when you start going to school, even Tadika, and go to school. That's when you have rules and regulation to conform to the norm should be. But one disadvantage sometimes, the conditioning in school, when they were 0 to 7, they have full of imagination, they want to reach their dream. But sometimes we are not careful. If we are very stereotyped the school, you must have this certain number of A, very much about achievement. The children are not free to sort of go with their dream. Then they have too much stress on the external thing, then that's when it's difficult. So I see your point that the discipline sometimes is a bit difficult from 7 to 14. And after 14 to 21, if we as parents, we must treat them as friends. So 7 to 14 discipline, 14 to 21 you must treat them as friends. You cannot embarrass them. For example, we scold them if they are wrong. So I like you saying that I put on my Facebook recently, which get a lot of response from the friends on my Facebook. I put that if there is no need to scold the children, your children, then there is a need not to scold them.
Right.
Which I mentioned before the show, and you're wondering why is such a way. Actually, because actually there's no need to scold. We can just give feedback. We can just tell our children we are not happy with what they do. But before we actually give the feedback of their behavior, we say, I love you very much, you are my child or my daughter or my miracle, but I'm not so happy with your behavior of this part. So the children knows we give a very high emotional account to them, that they know we love them, but because they went astray a bit, so we as parents trying to make them go in the correct direction. So this is something that parents say, when the discipline start, you can give all the love and discipline. You discipline them with love. So just now Datuk Noriza talking about 4R, I want to introduce 4L.
4Ls.
Every day we tell our children, today I want to live, I want to learn, I want to love and laugh. Teach people how to laugh well, and we know that laughter is the best medicine. And teach our children, when we wake up this morning, you say, I want to feel good today. I choose to be happy today. And I've mentioned my magic 3 all the time. Tell our children to every day speak kindly, care deeply, love generously. So before we send our children to school or whatever they're doing, okay, remember today, you want to think good thoughts, speak kind words, take good action. Yes.
Okay, now let me just branch out into single parenting. If being a parent is challenging, being a single parent is even more challenging. Because single parents often have to work and assume the responsibility of the whole household by themselves and the children. If somebody is a single parent, what kind of specific advice do you have for them?
Okay, number one, they have to accept the condition they are in. They cannot go into self-pity mode. Oh, because I'm a single parent, I'm so limited. My belief is that I think my children can go nowhere. Because there are many people who, for example, Bill Clinton, his father passed away when he was 8. He was raised by a single mother. But at the age of 12, he told his mother, Mother, I'm going to be the President of the United States.
Wow. She must have been laughing back then.
That's why now my hobby, whenever I see a child, I always ask, what's your dream? What do you want to become? But I'm amazed at many Malaysian children, when they come to see me, the mother come to see, especially they bring their children, what's your ambition? Don't know. So we should start now as good parents to start, because Einstein said we are the sum of our imagination.
Right.
The imagination is very strong because it's just planning for the future. If you can imagine, that means you have created the images of what you imagine in your brain cells, and it will stay with you. So it's very important for our children to have good imagination. So for single parents, don't have limitation. You must accept and know that everything that God made is perfect. Every day you must say, in my world, everything is perfect. So whatever God has given me is best for me, and God will never give me the situation if I cannot handle it. And always ask strength from God. Don't say, I can do it. With the help of God. Always say with the help of God. And If you have children, you put them in a situation. Okay, now look here. I have to do this. Talk sense with our children, because they are very good actually. If you treat your children will become as though you treat them. If you treat them as mature, adult, and stop thinking of bad things about them, because what you think is what you become. So if you keep on telling your children, you are no good, you are lousy, watch out the words that we say to our children. Recently, one mother brought the son who has a bit of eye allergy. She was so stressed out, and the child was so stressed. I said, why are you worried? Because the eye is itchy. I said, okay, are you grateful that he has no heart problem, kidney problem, liver problem, and he can walk well? And she was like, she just realized, we do not realize what we have. We are always so upset about what we do not have or the problem that we have. So this is what the positivity system they want to introduce, the vitamins for the mind. Look for what you have, be happy with what you have, and be grateful. And for single parents out there, it's not the end of the world. At least you have children. There are people who have homeless, no family at all, single in the whole world.
Right.
Yes.
It's very sad indeed. Prof, the other issue with parenting today is probably competition. We send our kids for karate classes, ballet dance classes, and the same kid actually goes for super maths genius courses. We send them to all these classes in the hope that they'll be better than the Jones kids.
Yes.
So should we actually go about doing things this way? I think it's kind of unhealthy.
Excellent point, Terence. Excellent point. I was talking to my makeup artist earlier. You know, she was telling about how this child do not want to go to school, don't even take PMR. She just wanted about makeup. I said, that's wonderful. Now makeup artists make so much money, and they do such a good job. If not, my face won't look so good. I mean, they are very, very good, these makeup artists. So whatever we must tell our children, I mentioned before, most of the time we teach our children to pass exam. Is it knowledge or achievement? Knowledge is something genuine. You want to have knowledge to contribute to the world, to add value. But achievement is like very external driven. You are very worried, or you are very into to impress. Don't live to impress. So the Jones always said, but to impress. And it's no good. I mentioned about 7 phases of intention, or the things you must do to be in connection with God. Be creative, not competitive. Be kind. Be full of love. Look for beauty all the time. Be abundant. Be always growing, and be receptive. So these are the 7 values we want to teach our children. Don't compete, because success is defined by not being better than others, but being better than you were yesterday. And success is knowing where you are going. It doesn't matter which direction you're going. It doesn't matter where you are, but which direction you are going. So I suggest all this trying to go karate and all that is stereotype. You want to, my parents, this one do piano, we do piano.
Yes.
Ask your children, what do you like to do? What's your dream? What do you envision yourself in 5, 10 years, 20 years with time to come? I think it's important that now our First Lady is into permata and children development. I think we have to sort of see what they want to see in their life, and we shape them towards that. Don't try to be competitive, because as again I say, you know, like Richard Branson, they are not into academic. Not everybody has to have straight A to be happy. There are many people, entrepreneurs, who are, you know, mediocre in their study, but they have very, very, very street smart.
Sure.
So we want our children to be street smart,
of
and
course.
we see the potential. And genetically, I've mentioned that all of us are different. And remember, I talked about mimetics. Our thinking affects our genes. Our genes is a tool that manifests what we want. So it's very important when children. I know one entrepreneur. He's very successful. He's from a very village. The father used to wake him up and say, you know what? His name is Abu Bakar. He said, Abu Bakar, you know what? I dreamed last night that you become this and that. So the father tells his dream about the child, and the child starts to imagine and see in their mind. And now he's such a successful man, and I think when I look at how successful people are, most of the time the parents have a lot to do. Because they've put the seeds of success when they were small. And our mind is like a garden. What we put is what grows. So we as parents, to be good parents, one, we must make sure that the inner talk that we give to our children, and the kind of things that go, because our mind is shaped by 3D. Our inner talk, our environment, what others say about us. The environment we can control when they are in our home, where we control the kind of TV, the kind of music they watch, the kind of thing we do. And inner talk is something that we must always say good things to our children. If they don't, if they get 98, why don't you get 100? Some parents go to the teacher, why don't my child get 100? So you already show to your children the marks is everything. What we should say to our parents, to our children, I don't care about your study so much. Most important, you are happy, you are healthy, and you have very good manners, and you are very well developed physically, mentally, spiritually, relationship, and financial. So when we raise our children, we ensure they take good food physically, and mentally ensure good television program, good reading, and then spirituality, make sure they stay connected with God. And relationship, teach them good manners. When you go to people's home, bring small gift, respect the, just now Datuk said about respect the elderly, and financially teach them about financial literacy. How many of our school system teach about financial literacy? We don't know much. I mean, I've been through that system. I've become now we don't have a syllabus on financial literacy.
Can I just add to that, you know, the 5 things that you mentioned?
Yes.
Somebody once told us that in order to be a good parent, you also need to make time, set aside time to spend with them and be part of what they're doing.
That's right.
And, you know, so if they're watching the program, you can watch along.
Watch together and you give feedback.
You're reading a book, you read along.
Yes, I know.
You play along.
That's right. A family that plays together and prays together stays together.
Yes.
So I know this professor from UKM, both are professors, and he said in the evening he does not watch TV or whatever. He sit down with his children who are doing so well now, doing homework with them.
Yeah.
Sometimes we parents say, go and study, but we watch TV.
That's not a good example.
Not a good example. The best thing that we can lift our children is the example. The best thing that we can give, good example. So we want to come to a stage in which our children say, mother or father, I want to live your life. I've seen how you live, and you know, this is what you get at the end of your life, so I want to live this life.
Right.
Be the exemplary mother or father you are.
Was that the proudest moment as a parent that you had?
Yes, I had this, recently, because my daughters are doing medicine. I wanted to do ophthalmology, they don't want. But after a while, I keep on telling them to go on personal development, and they find it's too much of a nuisance when they were teens. Because when they go to school, it's compulsory. While taking breakfast, they must watch good motivation program since they were in secondary school. And they thought I'm just, you know, being very strict. But now they're thanking me over the moment. And now after 20 years, they're going to graduate soon. 10 years later, and said, Mom, I'm going to live your life. Because I told them to sharpen the saw. No use trying to cut the tree to do something, like Stephen Covey say, and sharpen the saw, the 7th habit. You try to cut the tree and the tree never breaks. So the old man said, why don't you sharpen the saw? I have no time to sharpen the saw, I'm so busy sewing. So all of us, if we sharpen ourselves, vitamins for the mind, we teach people how to change their thought pattern. If you spend every day, one day you spend 1 hour to sharpen your physical, mental, spiritual, imagine how you can have double, 10-fold increase in your efficiency.
That's so true.
So for your 8 hours of working, if you start with exercise first, good nutrition, positive movie that you watch, all these, you know, positive quotation that you read, the audiobooks that you listen in the car, if you just watch people yakking about too much advertisement, no point. You must watch something that make you become forward. And then whenever, for smokers out there who wants to start doing this, you say, no, for fathers especially, good parents, at the minute you want to smoke, you say, okay, I want to die early, so that my wife become widow. I want to die early, so that my children become orphan. I want to smoke so that I have this disease. If you can say that, then you can continue smoking. Most of the time, I find this is all my patients. Because we know that those who smoke, the eyes become very unhealthy. So I'm sure, And now the cigarette price has come up. Same thing as sugar. Yes. And you know how many of us parents, yesterday one child came to me, he got allergy, so I told him, okay, you only take fast food once a month. The child listened. Take vegetable, the child listened. So we must put this condition that food is everything. You are what you eat.
You are what you eat.
You must control. We cannot simply, you know, okay, let's go to this fast food restaurant for, you know, as if they do something, they deserve this fast food restaurant. By right, if they behave well, they deserve something that they like, a book. And look at the presents we buy for our children. Why do we buy guns and all that?
Yeah, let's
you
get
must
more
buy
sensible.
Good books.
Let's get more sensible.
Yes, so I always tell parents, our children is a reflection of us. So if our children misbehave, no matter what age they are, always take full responsibility. And if you continue doing the same thing, you get the same result. So you must change your way of thinking and your children.
Thank you.
Thank you
for being with us this morning.
Thank you,
that has been Vitamins for the Mind, the Power of Good Parenting.